we'll be, well, we're married.
No. When did you get married?
Almost 2 years ago.
Imagine you find out that your daughter got married to a random guy that you've never met, barely heard of, who lives in a whole other country. She tells you that she got married without you even knowing. Imagine the emotional damage that will do to a parent, especially if you are super close with your daughter. You would think, what the hell did I do so wrong for you to not want to tell me? Like, what happened? The type of scar that would leave inside would be insane, in my opinion. But let's continue.
Joanne, I know him enough. Yes, I do. And we knew.
Joanne, how do you not even tell your mother you're married? What kind of respect am I getting in this relationship?
What do you
That's
need
supposed to be my
respect for?
son-in-law. I'm
Because
his
Mom,
mother-in-law.
we had.
I'm your mother, Joanne. I should have been told.
Now, listen, at the same time, though, I will say this. As we grow older, you know, obviously we become our own person. We are allowed to make choices that we do not need to run by anybody else. We are allowed to do things that we don't have to tell anybody. We are allowed to do that because that is the freedom of being a human being, doing what we see best, and that's it. But at the same time, though, sometimes some of the things that we do can have consequences, or they can hurt the ones close to us, okay? In this situation, I would say that her mom obviously feels heavily betrayed, obviously hurt by the situation, and doesn't understand why her daughter would not speak up. But at the same time, though, why would you not speak up? Now, clearly, for her daughter to not want to speak up, that would come from a place of fear, if you ask me personally. And this is something that I guess, you know, should have really been addressed. Why did you not tell us? And I think for me, the thing that I found most disappointing was that Joanne was unable to give her mum reasons why. And I feel like if she can give her mum reasons why, maybe her mum could have reflected and said, you know what, okay, if that's how it made you feel, let me do better for the foreseeable. Whether or not her mum has that in her or not, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. As long as she communicated why she didn't tell her in detail, if you do what I'm saying. Rather than just sugarcoat the situation, just say, I just wanted to do it for myself. But anyway, we continue.
Mom, I wouldn't want to tell anybody.
It's not anybody. I'm your mother.
So don't tell her.
Does your sons know this?
No.
Are they gonna know?
Yeah, when we're there, we planned on announcing it.
But to be honest with you, despite the fact that she didn't want to tell anybody, not telling her sons is the worst of the worst. The fact that she's planning on taking her sons all the way to Ireland and then telling them in Ireland that, hey, guess what? You see Shawnee boy over here? Yeah, he's my husband. That's not a fair thing to do to your kids. You know what I mean? You know, it's one thing to not want to tell your mom because maybe you're afraid of her reaction. You're afraid of the fact that she may stop you or she may have too much to say. Fair enough. But your sons, the ones that you say that are heavily important to you, that's why when she says next, I don't know if I believe it.
An aneurysm. I was put through extensive testing and they found more aneurysms, warrant surgery. After the surgery, the doctor told me that I would have died in 2 weeks. Had I'm alive is a blessing.
Listen, I get it. When people go through near-death experiences or people put in any position that they feel like their life may be on the line, when you do survive it, it does make you want to, you know, not act out. Some people say act out, but it makes you realize that you don't have to live life in fear as much and you should just live life the way you want to, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with her going through, well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with anybody going through a near-death experience that makes you walk away resilient. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, though, there are still areas where you still need to have a little bit more respect, and not telling your kids, that doesn't fly.
And just taught me to do whatever it is that makes you happy. And this is what made me happy. In Ireland for a month and then coming home for 2 weeks. If the boys
don't like him, you won't do it?
No, of course not. They're my kids. Like, I'm not going to do that.
See, this is the thing that I really don't understand, and I don't know if I believe him. Joanne claims that if her kids do not like him, then everything's off. The marriage will be off. Her moving to Ireland will be off. I don't believe that. Well, to be fair, she didn't say the marriage will be off, to be fair. She just said that if they don't like him, well, then I guess I won't move to Ireland. The logic isn't making sense to me. The math is not mathing. You know, because even if your kids do like him, does she not understand that she's going to have to go, 2 weeks to a month without seeing her kids? How is that going to impact her kids? She's got a young son. One of the sons is a bit older. Maybe the impact on him isn't exactly the same. But the one that's younger, He needs his mum to be around, like, more than 2 weeks to a month. You see what I'm saying? You know, if anything, she should be in the States for 3 weeks and then Ireland for a week, if anything. And let's be real, she can't fly back and forth with the kids because, well, that's going to ruin their school, their education. Because the kids can't go to one school and another school back and forth. Because I know for sure that when it comes to education system, whatever they're teaching you here in the UK, at let's say you're 10 years old. Whatever they teach you here 10 years old isn't even the same as what they teach you in America at 10 years old. Do you see what I'm saying? Honestly, the whole thing is a calamity. Honestly, I don't know why she thought that this whole idea was a good plan, because the plan itself is actually terrible. It doesn't make any logical sense to me personally. You get married to a man, but then you say that if your kids don't like him, well, then you're not going to move to Ireland then. So then how are you going to make your relationship work with him? Is there a backup plan of where he's then going to move to America to be with you? But guess what though? He's also got a kid too. Is he going to leave his kid to come and live with you in the States? You see what I'm saying? There was no thought process. To be fair, she did. So with that being said, I'm gonna contradict myself and say that yes, she was acting out.
Never. Them getting married so fast does make me feel suspicious of Sean.
I mean, listen, I don't blame the mom for feeling suspicious. You know, because at the end of the day, she doesn't know this guy, never met him, knows pretty much nothing about him. And all of a sudden, he's already married her daughter, you know, like 2 years ago. And the mom's only finding that now. So why would the mom not be suspicious? Anybody in their right mind would be suspicious of this behavior. I mean, to be honest with you, really and truly, like I said before, my biggest concern is that the plan was not planned out well enough to the fact that it actually makes me feel as if she really did consider her kids enough or at all, to be honest with you, because again, the math is not mathing. All I know is this. When you've got kids, the choices that you make have to be wise. They have to make sense. There cannot be choices that put your kids in positions where your kids are being neglected, are being pushed to the side, are being put in a position where, you know, as if they don't matter. She can say they matter, but the actions tell me that they don't matter. Look at it this way. You married a guy because you wanted to do what you wanted to do. You then made a plan to say that you're going to move there for a month and come back to the States for 2 weeks. But at the same time, you're saying that you won't do that unless your kids approve of liking him. But then at the same time, even if they do approve, you're only seeing your kids 2 weeks per each month. But one of your kids is still a young boy who's going to need his mother around, given the fact that you and your baby daddy aren't even in a relationship. And because you're not in a relationship, that's crazy. It's like you're putting the kid in a position now where he's going to end up picking which one he likes more. Do you see what I'm saying? Is he going to end up spending more time with daddy than he is with mommy? And that's the thing. Sometimes flights can be cancelled. Sometimes they can be delayed. Anything can happen. This whole thing on a parenting scale of things logically does not make any sense. And she already knows that she cannot relocate her kids to another country because of the fact that she obviously shares the kid with the baby dad. Do you see what I'm saying? She would need permission from him to do that. And that's not going to happen by the sounds of it. But meanwhile, on the other hand, Sean now, on the other hand, in Ireland, he's got a kid. So therefore, would he be willing to leave his kid behind to live in the States? Or would he be able to bring his kid with him to the States if it was the reverse? But they haven't even talked about that option. This whole situation would be far different if there were no kids involved, or if one of them didn't have kids, but both have kids. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So therefore, to be honest with you, if I'm the mother now, I'd be even more. I wouldn't even be suspicious. I'd be hella confused of how the hell you thought this was going to work in the first place. But hey, let's just see, obviously, how things plan out for these two throughout the rest of the season. And to be honest with you, I actually kind of want to see them return for another season, because I really want to see how they actually kind of make it work. That fascinates me. But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts. We can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.